The first thing I wanted to do for my stop motion was to start off with some drawing studies, as I wanted to really develop my character designs and I didn't want to just jump straight into having a fully formed character. I wanted to kind of play around with it a bit. So the first thing I did was do some photo studies of older men, because that's what I decided one of my characters was going to be. So I did some quick studies, some more detailed studies, and then went on to exaggerating those in a more cartoonish way, which you can see on the right. My final design ended up being a little bit different to these, but more closer to the top right design. Making the puppets was relatively easy, as I had a very detailed plan, so there were no problems I faced during this process. I cut out each piece and connected all the joints with a black split pin, which is also my chosen found object. So today I've just started experimenting with movement styles on my main characters. These are my paper puppets for my short film. I've only got two characters, so this is the spirit and this is the man. I have the man puppet, which I'm very happy with for a first try, but this one I've used a lot more layers on. So I've used foam spaces in between some of the clothing and base arm layers to add some depth. I did a few pipeline tests to check the movement of my puppets, and I actually decided to go in a completely different direction for the spirit puppet, as it was overcomplicated, so I did replacement technique at the end instead. To ensure that the scale of my shots would be correct throughout the film, I used the same size piece of paper for every set. By creating this window for the shot to take place within, it was very easy to visualise the correct scaling for everything. I painted each of my sets in gouache, as I wanted very specific colours and textures within my sets. I also wanted to continue the paper cut look by layering in a very similar way to my puppets, using foam sticky pads. For the laser cut element within my film, I decided to not actually use it within my shots, and instead as a tool to help me film. Initially, I had created this picture frame to literally frame each shot, but after laser cutting and painting, I realised it left me with a very small area to animate within, so this idea was scrapped. Instead, I used this frame to hold my set sheets above the table so that I could have elements moving within the background, thus creating more depth within the scenes. I'm back in the studio today. I've got the same bay as last time, so I can kind of keep my setup and lighting as similar as I can between shooting each shot. I'm going to start on the first shot today because I've pretty much done all my tests. For each final shot that is seen within the film, I did about 2 to 3, on some even 4 or 5 practice shots, so that I could make sure I was getting everything right and was using the best shot that I had filmed that day. Once I got into the flow of things, it was really easy to finish a piece of animation. Mostly each shot took maybe about 2 hours to film each, not including any practice shots that I had to do. I was lucky enough to be able to book out the same bay for each of my shooting days, so I really got used to filming and setting up, as it was all the same place, and it also really helped with keeping the consistency of my lighting within each shot. The last day of shooting was by far the longest day. I think I booked it out from the moment that Soda opened to the moment that it was meant to be closed, and I think I utilised the time really well because I got through 3 shots, and I even had time to make the set for my last shot because I hadn't been able to do that in previous days beforehand. So I was able to use some of the materials in the maker's space in Soda, which was also really useful. Here I'm filming the final shot of my film, which was a tracking shot of my spirit character. I did this by connecting two large pieces of paper, and I painted and collaged on top of it with some found materials, and a lot of the plants in the bottom of the ocean are cutouts from a gardening magazine, and I'm actually really happy with how it came out, even though I made the set on the day.